She-Hulk, issue number 1. So everybody who's been angry or complaining or upset with the current crop of She-Hulk stories can finally shut up for a minute. Look, I'll say it, I don't like what kind of happened with her where she became Hulk and was roided out, didn't talk in full sentences, because I think that defeated the purpose of making her the smart counterpart to Bruce Banner. I get for a story reason why somebody would be like, oh, Bruce is doing his Immortal Hulk thing, we'll do the Hulk thing with Jennifer. I get that, but that went against what I think made the character popular and interesting to begin with, and I understand why we need to go back. Not only because the character was in a bad place, but she's getting a TV show. So we kind of have to restart things, because TV show is kind of like, it's not like a grounds where we have to like put everything back to normal for the TV show. It's just like, oh, we have to make something accessible for the audience that could potentially come over to read this book from the television series. Is that going to be the case? I don't know, because this book was very fascinating to me. So Rainbow Rowell is writing it, and Roger Antonio is the artist, and I think this is a pretty good combination. So far with this issue alone, it's exactly what the character needed. Now, is that something cool? Is that something special? I don't think so. This feels very much like, it's weird to say, but you know how like recently in the last couple months, and just like that came out, where I guess it's like with anything really on television, where we're kind of like coming back and retracing our steps like 10, 15, 7 years later, where a character who was once prominent or a show was once prominent, and we're getting the actors and the actresses back to do the thing that made them famous. That's what this book feels like. It's like, okay, we just had like the weird experimental stuff. Now we're coming back to do our sequel to Sex and the City. We're doing like Jennifer Walters. She's back on her own, still struggling the way she did in the early 2000s. And yeah, that could be good or bad. And currently I'm like, this is an interesting choice. So the book literally opens up. She's walking down the street. Titania comes to attack her, because Titania will probably be appearing in the television series played by Jamila Jamil. And we just see like, hey, I heard you kind of went back to the self where you're kind of smart. We should have a fight. So they just kind of fight. And before they really get into it, Jennifer, like, takes off her skirt. She takes off her shoes because she doesn't want to rip the only suit she has. And then she hulks out. And it's a nice reveal. The artwork is very fun and it's very dynamic. I do like the coloring a little bit more than the actual pencil work, but that happens. And I do think it looks pretty cool. So they kind of start fighting. It's going okay. You just see like Jennifer's not really into it. She's like, you still married, Mary? She's like, yeah. Do you guys have an apartment? It's like, no, we rent a house. It's like, man, I think if I just had what you guys had, I'd feel, a little bit happier. And she's like, I feel kind of bad for you, Jennifer. Like, what are you going through right now? And basically, these two ladies just decide, why are we fighting like this? I feel like we could both have some like beneficial experience if we like set a distinctive time and place to fight, blow off some steam if we both promise to do better. So it's kind of just like, okay, let's stop this conflict and set up a time where we'll come fight and just like hang out as girls, just chilling and beating each other up. It's kind of cool. I get it. Again, I think that works really well, because we don't need to do like the extended conflict in here. She-Hulk is kind of a comedic character, so I think if we can resolve our conflicts in a more comedic fashion, it does work a little better than just being like the mindless violence that we've seen for so long. That's cool. And that works perfectly well for me. So she just heads back on the street, grabs her skirt, puts her shoes back on, heads to her law office, which was in Chelsea. And she's like, okay, this Mallory Book, she is this new lawyer from, I guess, somewhere in New York. And now she's just given Jennifer a job again. Jennifer's been out of practicing law for a little bit now. So now, again, television show. She's coming back to work at a law office. They do mention that she has one assistant that they will share between them, and the only reason that she is hiring Jennifer is so she doesn't have to go against her in court. And she's got a really small office, and it's fine. Again, very much that kind of like Hilary Duff generation, How I Met Your Father, younger thing, where it's like the woman coming back in the prominent role, the more matured person now in the position of somebody half her age, but still building herself up with all the experience she had from her previous thing. We've seen it in a million times in sitcoms. Like, honestly, this is like currently the trope we are seeing with characters coming back. Gossip Girl's coming back. It's kind of the same thing. Do Pretty Little Liars come back? Maybe. I don't know. It's not about that, though. So we see, again, Jennifer's trying to make it across the city. She's sorry I'm running late. She walks in, and we get a great reveal where she's going to go hang out with Janet Van Dyne for a little bit. And those of you might not know because she rarely comes up in books now, Janet Van Dyne is probably one of my favorite characters in Marvel Comics. I adore this character. I really, like, one of my dream projects for Marvel is to write a television show where it's just, classic 70s fashion pose era stuff. It's just a Janet Van Dyne led show, just Devil Wears Prada with Janet. Like, that's what I want to write so bad. So we see that Jennifer is headed to her old apartment, and we see that Janet's been taking care of it, and it's like, I guess Janet kind of owns it now. There's kind of talking, and again, Janet's just trying to make sure she still bears, like, if you need money, I could give you a loan. If you want to, help finding your own place or help finding some new outfits, I can help you with that. And Jen's just like, no, I'm fine. I got it. I can just take it easy for a sec. I appreciate this. I won't be here long. I kind of hope Janet becomes a supporting character in this book. It is nice to see her, if even for a minute. So I do like the tension that's building up there. We see Jen's just looking at the bed. She's like, oh, coming to mama. Here we go. Heads back into her closet and sees all of her old clothes. I guess she wouldn't have been in this apartment in her time as an Avenger because she would constantly be hulked out. And like she even said, like, you can't really get close at Old Navy when you're the size that doesn't fit anything. So that's kind of cool. We get a nice montage where she's trying on an outfit. She hulks out and just lies on the bed. It's pretty fun stuff. And then she goes to have a bath, just chill out and relax. And she's like, bringing up what she did when she was talking to Titania. It's like, I was given so many chances and so many things just happen to me all the time that I feel like I don't want to squander this one. And that to me is kind of like a meta writer perspective. Like, I have been given so many failed attempts of being special, and now that I got a TV show, this is the one that needs to matter so people can pick up this book and just understand who I am. I like that a lot. And then something surprising happens, which I guess it shouldn't be surprising because if we've seen the covers, we know he was going to appear. But there's a crash at her door. She runs out in a robe, and we see that just crashing through her front door for some reason is Jack of Hearts. He collapses on the floor. Jen freaks out, and it looks like he's dead, but not. And I'm like, we're really jumping into Jack of Hearts this quickly in this book. I know Dan Slott has been saying forever that Jack of Hearts is going to be in Reckoning War. So, like, wow, is Jack of Hearts getting a push all of a sudden? That is so weird. It makes, I guess, was he in a relationship with Jennifer? I don't know. I guess they would have been on the Avengers team together in Disassembled, because is that the last time we saw Jack of Hearts? He has not been relevant for a long time. But, yeah, they would have been together. Did she kill him when she raged out? That might have been what happened. Interesting that Jack of Hearts shows up here. Weird place in the book. Is this She-Hulk book going to tie directly into Reckoning War this quickly? Because with issue 1, we're already setting up characters that's going to be in that book. And, man, that's going to be a lot. So I am still kind of mixed on this. I think it was a strong outing. And it sets up, like, hey, we're doing this thing where she's coming back to basics, but she's still the She-Hulk you remember from every previous incarnation. To me, though, the highlight of the book are the covers and the interior covers from Jen Bartel, because, oh, man, that is some gorgeous work. I would love to see Jen get a full-time book. Gorgeous. I just adore it so much. It's absolutely breathtaking, and I think this is going to be a special book for a lot of people because of that. I hope this becomes the stay for Jennifer, because I think she could definitely lead a title that's ongoing. And if we get more from it, that's kind of cool. Does this book feel like it only exists because of the TV show? Sadly, it does. But I think it could become something very special, and I'm curious to see how that's going to come into fruition. So, a She-Hulk book, it's kind of interesting. I gotta say, I would give it a check out. I would say read it. It could be something that surprises you. So, She-Hulk issue number 1, I'm going to give a 6 out of 10. Now, thank you guys for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.